and Gwen were thoroughly shaken by the experience. They called it a night and hurried back to what they thought would be the safety of their home. But no more than 2 hours passed before they noticed a strange blue glow outside of their window. Then, to their horror, the same blue ball sailed past toward the back of their house. As it did so, the lights of the house began to dim and brighten slightly, as if the softball-sized object was somehow affecting the electrical supply. Terry and Gwen rushed to the door to look outside. They saw the strange floating probe flying several hundred feet away before disappearing from sight. But this wasn't the last the Shermans would see of these strange, probing balls of light, and their next encounter with these otherworldly reconnaissance craft would be a lethal one. As frightening as the happenings on the ranch had been at times, to that point they had not caused any physical harm. The strange blue orbs in particular seemed content just to watch the Shermans and their animals from a distance. They had never given them any reason to think that their very lives might be in danger. But in April of 1996, what was meant to be a quiet evening of relaxation turned into a night of sheer terror.
Terry had been sitting outside enjoying the evening breeze with his 3 loyal guard dogs when his peace was interrupted by the now eerily familiar flash of blue which signified the arrival of one of the orbs which had been visiting on a regular basis. His dogs, perhaps aware of the intruding object even before he was, were already growling and whining at the sight. The object was hovering just a few feet off the ground, and it appeared to be approaching them. When it was less than 100 yards away from Terry and his dogs, it abruptly changed course and started heading north. Terry had reached a breaking point. He was now entirely fed up with these intrusions, and against his better judgment, he sicked his dogs on the orb. The dogs took off at full speed and easily caught up to the slow-moving object. While the object could easily have shot up into the air to avoid the dogs, it seemed to be somehow playing along with the pursuit, dropping down just within striking distance of the hound's eager jaws. The shining sphere seemed to be showing off its maneuverability by allowing the dogs to come close to biting down on it, only to artfully dodge their fangs with split-second precision. This infuriated the dogs, which at this point probably wouldn't have returned even if Terry had called them. Their singular focus was to sink their teeth into this alien, for lack of a better word, piece of technology that was tormenting them.
All the while, the orb was purposefully leading the pursuing pack into the thick tree cover to the south, as if it wanted the game to continue away from Terry's wearied eyes. Sure enough, the orb suddenly dropped to the ground, tantalizingly within reach of the chasing dogs, and sped off into the woods. All 3 dogs followed in hot pursuit. Terry's beloved pets had left his side for the last time, as mere moments later he heard what could only be their death wails, 3 howls of brief but intense pain. Terry stared hard and horrified at the entrance to the woods, but he could not hear or see anything more. The entire ranch was now gripped in a deathly quiet. Terry sat in his lawn chair for the better part of 2 hours as the darkness grew around him, hoping beyond hope to see his dogs come running back. And as brave as Terry had proved himself to be in his encounter with the bulletproof wolf, he didn't dare step into those dark woods where the hovering menace still lurked. Eventually he quietly packed up his things and went in for the night.
It was not until the next morning, under the comforting shield of the daylight sun, that Terry finally ventured into the forest. As soon as he stepped within the ring of trees, he was greeted with the distinct odor of death. Whatever he might find, it wouldn't be good. After only a few more steps through the maze of trees, he found the source of the putrid scent and recoiled in horror at the sight of 3 oval piles of incinerated flesh on the forest floor. It was clear that the shining blue probe had expertly herded the dogs out of sight inside the woods and then turned on them and viciously incinerated them. With the loss of his beloved dogs to the increasingly malevolent phenomena besieging Skinwalker Ranch, Terry finally caved to the pressure. As he walked away from the nightmarish sight the strange intelligence had left behind, he knew it wouldn't be long before his family would be forced to walk away from the ranch completely. The hidden forces that had long resided within Skinwalker Ranch were now evicting the latest residents.
After the death of their dogs, the Shermans were at their wits' end. With nothing to lose, they finally broke their silence about what was happening on the ranch. Their story first appeared in a 1996 edition of a local newspaper, the Deseret News, and this rendition of the tale caught the attention of billionaire Las Vegas businessman Robert Bigelow. Bigelow had made his fortune as owner of the Budget Suites hotel chain, but he had many other interests besides the hospitality industry, and one of those interests was the paranormal. Just 1 year before the Skinwalker Ranch story hit the paper, Bigelow had founded a paranormal research organization called the National Institute for Discovery Science, NIDS. This group was tasked with investigating a host of mysterious and strange phenomena to find concrete evidence in all kinds of nebulous subject matter that had hitherto remained elusive. So when Robert Bigelow received word of the strange happenings on the Sherman Ranch, he was immediately intrigued. He had already been considering the creation of a NIDS research outpost somewhere in the western United States, and so the chance to purchase land that had been the focal point of such unexplainable activity was the proverbial icing on his paranormal cake.